Okay, this is going to be my attempt to show you guys some basic features in Procreate. I'm making this a video. Sorry, I'm shaking my desk. So you guys can pause it, go back, rewatch it. But I want to just show you some basic stuff really quick. For one, in the settings, this is important. Obviously, this is how you insert a file. So if you have a file that you want to use as a background, this is where you would insert that. You can do a photo. You can take a picture. This is where you add text. So you'd click here and add your text, yada, yada, yada. In order to edit your text, you click on it. You can also change your font right here. You can import fonts also. You can change the style just by clicking this over here. Just like on the computer, only on your iPad. So that's how we do that. Also, this is important. Over here, right here, this is our back button. So if we don't like what we did, all we have to do is click the back. If you don't like it, just click clear or delete. Oh, what in the world? Apparently I shut it off. It's okay. Sometimes that happens. The other thing in here I want to show, so that was in the ad. You also have your cut, copy, paste, and copy canvas. I never use these over here, and I will eventually get to the video where I show you where I use my cut, paste, and how I get there. This is the canvas. This is also important because there's a lot of useful tools in here that most people don't know about when you first start with Procreate. You can use animation. I don't use animation a lot, so I'm not 100% sure on how to do this. So the animation is not my area, but drawing guide. I use drawing guide a lot. So when you go to edit your drawing guide, you can have a 2D grid. You can have it be like this, perspective. You can use symmetry. And if you want to change your symmetry, so this mirrors it. So whatever I put on this side will end up on that side. But if you want to change it, you can go vertical, horizontal. You can do it quarterly or have it be radial. You can also rotate. So if you do this, it's going to, wherever you put this here, it's going to be on the opposite side over there. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave this on, but I'm going to go back to options. I'm going to put it back on vertical. And then this obviously up here just changes the line so you can see it. So I'm going to click done. So now my, whatever I draw on this side is going to mimic itself on that side or vice versa. So we're going to go back in here into Canvas. You can also use a reference. So you can import, if you click the reference, you can import a picture and it won't interfere with anything you're doing on your screen, and you can move it around. You can also hit flip horizontally, vertical. But this, the very top one, the crop and resize, this is where if you're going to go change the settings, you always want your DPI on 300. No matter what you're doing, that is the minimum. So you should always go in there and change it. And then if you want your snapping on, you can add your snapping. If you want to resample your canvas, you can turn that on. But if you just want to change the size, you just move these little arrows. So that is how you do that. It doesn't really matter to me right now how big this is for what we're doing. So we're just going to hit OK. So it just resized that. Next, over here, we have the adjustments. And to use some of this stuff, I'm going to have to draw a little bit. So we're just going to make just some basic little, we'll just do, actually, I'm going to show you this really quick too. So I have a circle here. I'm holding it in place and it just came enclosed as one circle. I'm going to go hit edit shape. And then it's going to say, do you want an ellipse or do you want a circle? And I want a circle. So it just changed my drawing that was imperfect to a perfect circle. So we're going to leave this like that. And then we're going to go back over here. Nope, I'm lying. I'm a liar. We're going to drop some colors in here. And to do that, we just grab the circle, drag and drop. So there we have this. I'm going to go back in here. And if you want to change your color balance, you can do that. It's going to change your colors right here, however you like them. And then you can add shadows and all that fun stuff and highlights, yada, yada, yada. We're going to go back over here. We've got a curve. So it's going to let you change that if you want to. And then it's going to change your colors, as you can see. Also, something I use constantly in this is the gradient map, okay? So here are all of my gradients that I have saved, I have made. And then you can just change these over and it will change the color of what you are working on. And you just move them around and it will change the colors of your project. So we're just going to hit done. That I use all the time. And then we have gradient blur. This is useful too. So if you're trying to do something and you want it to be just slightly blurry, you can do that. And then this is how I make shadows. So that would be like my shadow background for what I'm doing. So to show that, we're going to take this, we are going to make it black. And we're going to go back to gradient blur. And then I'm going to blur it. And now it looks like it's shadowed. So that is how you do that. This is all over here in adjustments. And that was the gradient blur. There's also a motion blur. So depending on what way you're pulling it, it's going to take your shadow in the way that you're pulling. And then perspective. Also the same thing. Oh, I forgot to hit the button. Ha ha. So perspective, and then it will just go in and out. You see how it's changing a little bit down there. All right, so we're just going to leave that. Noise. I want to go over the noise. So I'm just going to up these a little, and then this is adding noise to the background. Go higher and lower. You can do ridges. So that is how you make things look grungy. We're going to go back up here, sharpen. Same concept. So it's sharpening. It's getting rid of some of those shadows. These are all very, very, very useful. And then we have bloom. So also, let's do it on this one so we can see it a little bit more. Okay. And then glitch. This one's fun. It makes it look like the TV, you know, like when it used to go out back in the day. So these are fun. The other thing I like to do, well, I guess we'll get there in a second. So here is a halftone. So now, instead of having halftone brushes, you don't need them anymore because you can just halftone whatever you're making and make it look like a comic. And then there's this, which makes things look a little bit 3D. I'm going to leave that there because I'm going to go to the Liquify panel. And this is like my favorite thing in the entire world. Especially if you're trying to do marbleized things. So you just take your tools and So you control what right, left, you can push it around. So we control left now. You can pinch it if you find like an area that's cool, that'll bring it together. You can also expand an area, which will pull it out. You can go in with the crystallize, and then you can make everything look like it's crystalled. There's an edge, so it'll be like there's the edge of something. It's bringing it in. Reconstruct, so if you don't like it, you just reconstruct it and you can go back to where you started. So I use Liquify a lot. It's a lot of fun. And then there's the clone. I've not really played with this a whole lot, but we are just cloning the colors. No, I don't really know a whole lot about the clone though. So, all right, next up, this is where you select things. So if you want to freehand something, you would go in, and we selected this, okay? And when I said I don't use the copy and paste panel, I take my 3 fingers and I pull down, and then my copy and paste panel pops up right here or anywhere in on the screen. So we'll just say we want to cut. So we just cut that out, and now we want to paste it back down. So I'm going to say paste, and now I can move this. So if you have something on a layer that you didn't want and you want to move, you can do that. Or you can also rotate, flip, vertical, horizontal. You can change this or reset. You can also distort things. So this is going to let you distort it, and you can change the perspective of the way it's looking, which is kind of neat. So no matter which way you're moving it, is kind of cool if you are needing to do that. And then there's the warp. So if you wanted something to look more round, this is the tool that you would use to do so, which is really cool. So again, that was exactly this, and we've completely changed it now, and I'm going to reset it. And that is pretty much what there is to know in here. There is, you can take this and you can remove things. So anything in here that you didn't want can be removed. You can invert. You can feather things. So we'll just feather, save and load, fill color. So really basic, simple things that are important. So and it's really important whenever you're drawing something new to always add new layers. So anytime you're adding a color or something like that, you want to make sure that you are always working on a new layer, because they're easier to go edit than if you don't work on a new layer. So to show that, I'm just gonna really quick make a flower. So this isn't going to be perfect. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. We're just going to doodle up a really bad flower. Okay, so there's a basic flower shape. And when I would be working with this, I would go ahead and I'd hit this button. For my bottom layer, I would make this linear burn, and I would change the occupancy to lower than the brightest. And then from there, I'm going to go to the second layer. And first, actually, I'm lying. I'm going to go back to the selection, and I'm going to hit automatic, and I'm going to grab my petals. Okay. And then from there, I'm going to go to my second layer. I'm going to go, let's just grab a watercolor brush for now. So we're just going to grab some watercolor. We're going to make this pinkish red. And I'm just going to, oops, hold on. I screwed up somewhere. So back to where I screwed up there. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What in the what? All right. Turn off my drawing guide. Why is this doing that? Oh, because I have fill color. Okay, I think that is why it is doing that. I'm like, what? I never turned it back off. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next layer. So I have my watercolor brush, and we're just going to color in the petals. So they are on the top layer. They are not on the bottom layer where we have the drawing. They are on their own layer. From there, I'm going to go to a different layer, pick a different color. So we're going to go back to black. While I still have this, I'm going to add some darker colors on top of my layer. I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to blur them a little. I feel like I like that. I'm going to pick one more layer, and I'm going to go with just a little bit of a lighter pink, and I'm going to move this layer underneath that one, and I'm just going to add a little bit of lighter pink here. I'm again going to blur this, and I am going to change that to overlay. So we have changed the colors. Very pretty, right? It's probably not the prettiest thing you guys have ever seen. It's okay. I don't think it's that pretty either. I also want to show you that this is how you change the size of your brushes. So from right here, you can go, so if you have it down at the bottom, it's smaller. As if you go up further, your brush gets bigger. This over here is the occupancy of your brush. So if you have it at the top, you're going to be, it's going to be bright. You're going to be able to see it. But if you have it down here, when you write, you're not going to be able to see anything. So be aware that if that's what you want to be doing, that's fine. But just be aware of where this is at, because sometimes I'll hit it and it'll go down and I can't figure out why I'm not putting anything down. That's why. This little happy button right here is the eyedropper tool. So if you want to pick up your colors and change them, that's how you do that. So the layers panel is really important, and I always like to turn my background off or change the color. So I like to know what I'm using when I'm, or where I'm coloring when I'm in Procreate. This tool right here is the eraser tool. So it will erase. This is the blender tool. So I'm going to go ahead for this. I'm going to group these. I'm going to condense them, but I'm going to flatten this layer, but I'm going to keep this group because this is, I don't really want to get rid of it, because if I want to go back and edit anything, this is where I'm going to go back and edit it at. So I'm always going to keep my originals just in case I want to edit. So I want to show you guys the blender tool. So we are blending the colors now together. Blending, blending. I feel like that was bad blending on my part on that one. So again, I'm working in the blending, and we are just blending. Blending. And I messed up a little bit right here, which is fine. I'm just going to go delete it, and you would never know. So there we go. So far we have made a flower. And you guys know how to use the brush, because this is where you go to get all your brushes. So this is a blender, the eraser, the layers, and then your color palette. So here's the disc if you want to go find your color in the color disc. Then there's the classic mode. I'm not really I guess I use this one in the disc and sometimes my palettes, but I'm not really ever using this, but you can, because it shows you the color harmonies, which is great. Or you can use the values. I don't get into that a whole lot because I just don't. And then this is where you can save all of your palettes at. I, again, have a lot. I spend a lot of time on Procreate. So this is basic lesson number 1. I will try to upload more for you guys as I go, because some things that I do are a lot more difficult than others. So I hope I helped you guys out a little bit. Also, I guess I should really quick, if you need to change something, we're just going to duplicate this brush and go in here. If your brush isn't working properly, make sure that the blend mode is on normal and not multiply. And before you change anything in a brush, make sure you save the original brush before you go ahead and start messing with it. So then you'll have the original and then the one that you just changed. That will help you from trying to figure out what it was if you mess something up. So I hope you guys learned something. I hope this was helpful, and I hope you all have a great night. Bye.